Hello.
Hello, and welcome back to another episode of Real Grown Talk.
Here we are again, keeping it consistent. I
Yep.
love it.
I'm here with Ashley Santiago.
Hi, and this is Ariel Limas.
Ariel Limas here, and we're here on Real Grown Talk. So, I was talking to my family because right now we're kind of around the holiday season, so we're just talking. And she asked me a question. She was like, what should I be asking my realtor if I want to buy an investment property? So I was like, wait, this is a perfect opportunity to ask Ashley.
And, first of all, I love that, our family members are talking to us about this. I've been having the same experience.
Awesome.
So, I'm getting a lot of feedback from family and friends. So we want you guys to keep that up because it gives us things to talk about that
Absolutely.
maybe we wouldn't think of. We're on the other side here. So our thinking is maybe not necessarily the same as someone who doesn't work in the industry.
Yep.
So we love to hear what your guys' concerns and questions are.
Yeah.
And comments. I mean, just in general. Don't be afraid to tell us we're doing a good job or a bad job.
I call it constructive criticism.
Yeah, we'll take it.
We're always open to all that stuff because it's only going to make us better. It's only going to give you guys more information that you need, instead of wanting to listen to us sometimes. Now you can listen to us all the time because we're going to talk about things you want to hear.
Yeah, it's true. It's true. It makes it more fun.
Right? It does.
So
my aunt.
Your aunt is asking what to ask a realtor when she's looking for an investment property. Well, I would say the first thing we want to start out with is, what are your end goals? Are you looking for a long-term rental or a short-term rental?
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot of places out there where you can go for a vacation rental type place, and you might see more money coming in every month, right? Because you're charging by the day now.
Right.
Versus a long-term rental where you have a long-term tenant, but it's obviously not as steady, and there's usually a lot more fees. So that's why you really want to figure out what your ROI is.
Which is what? What's ROI?
So ROI stands for return on investment. And as an investor, that's probably the most important factor.
Yeah, that means how much money you're going to make, right?
Yeah.
Essentially, if you want to break it down like that.
Exactly. Your return on investment. And that's one of the biggest factors. But, when we're looking for properties for investors, we're really just looking for something that's suitable for them. Are you a flipper? Are you renting? What's your goals? And then we're going to try to tailor it around that. Of course, properties that are on the market longer might be better for an investor because you might have more of an equity opportunity. True. On something like that.
Yeah.
And equity is still a return on investment, depending on if your goal is to sell it or not.
Yeah.
That equity can definitely be in your favor. I guess I should elaborate on what is equity, though.
Yeah.
Some people might not know. Equity is the difference of what you owe,
right,
and what your property's worth.
Yep.
So, if you're in a positive equity situation, right from the jump, that's a good sign for you, especially if you're someone who's looking to resell like a flipper.
Yeah, and there's a lot of options too when you have equity in your property, right? You can do a HELOC, which is a home equity line of credit.
Yep.
So you're taking the equity on your home essentially, and you're borrowing against that.
Yeah.
And you can take that. That's why I also asked my aunt this too. I was like, well, do you want just one property, or are you planning for another one? Because then you can. That equity that you get from either the house you already have, if they do own a home, and then take that equity and buy the second one, and then do the same thing on the third one.
Yeah, if you're looking to have rental properties, that's definitely one way to use your equity if you're, looking to be like a landlord or just have properties to rent.
Right.
Use that equity to then keep those properties. You can tap into it without selling, and then buy other properties with your equity. It's a snowball. Once you get one,
I know,
you start snowballing into the other ones, and that's when it gets really fun.
Yeah.
Also, it can be confusing. You want to have a good team on your side, but, the more you do it, the more well-versed you'll become in it, the more you'll learn. Hopefully you don't have to make mistakes, but it's normal. People do, As long as you're well thought out in your process, you will probably make minimal mistakes.
And it's all growing pains too, because there's another thing that I mentioned to her was that, do you want to jump into a 4-unit property, or do you want like a 2-unit, so that when you do make mistakes, because they're inevitable, it's going to happen.
Right. It's not a perfect world.
It's going to be at a smaller scale, rather than having a 4-unit and making that mistake and it's 4-fold instead of 2-fold.
Well, there's 2 ways to look at that. Okay, so one way that people look at it is the more doors you have, the better.
Okay.
And by that we mean, more than 1 unit on the same property.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, it's different people have different techniques and different preferences. So this is not the only way to do it.
Right.
But, one thing is when you have multiple units like that, if one person leaves, you still have income from the other 3. So at the same time as where, you're maybe spending a little more, and so
Right.
a mistake could cost you a little more, you also have more income to kind of offset those things.
So it's like a weighted scale.
Yeah.
In terms of like,
It depends.
It
It depends.
But
But if,
3.
the best thing I would say, like, I started with just 1 property. I lived in it, had to move, and I rented it out. 1 door. I'm not going to sit here and be like, I own an apartment building.
Yeah.
No, that's not the case. It's a goal, but we'll see when we get there.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's one of those things, even if you're going to rent just a single unit out, you want to make sure you're getting something that makes sense. You don't want something with too high of a monthly payment. And really, it just comes down to, like, what does your monthly payment consist of?
Right. And then, that's when the first step, I told her, I was like, all right, have you been pre-qualified? And she was like, yeah. Unfortunately, I couldn't do it because it's in a state that I'm not licensed at the moment. But I was like, what did you get pre-approved for? And, like, where's your budget? I always ask people whether it's someone doing an investment or someone getting a primary, what is your preferred monthly housing budget? Like,
Right.
What number is going to make you comfortable seeing that as a mortgage payment, right? So once they tell me that, and they're like, okay, well, what's that? What does it consist of? Everybody's like, okay, yeah, I'm going to pay my mortgage. But what does your mortgage have?
Right.
It's PITI and sometimes A.
So what does that mean? PITI.
It sounds like
sometimes
that rhyme.
A.
Like AEIOU and sometimes Y. So principal, interest, taxes, and insurance, PITI. And then A is if you have association.
Got it.
So HOA, association dues, maintenance fees. They're called different things, but essentially they're the same thing.
Right.
That's for the A. So principal and interest is basically the principal, and then the interest that you're going to owe on that principal. Taxes, which is going to be the assessment of whatever state you're working in, or your property is in, I should say. And then homeowners insurance,
Right.
also known as hazard insurance. So if I don't know any lenders that don't require homeowners insurance.
Right.
So you need to have homeowners insurance. So that's part of it.
Yeah. I mean, if you're gonna have a loan, you're gonna need insurance.
Yeah. So then the A comes into play with the homeowners insurance as well, because if you're in a condo, the condo will protect mostly the outside, and then the inside would be on you.
Right.
So that's
I would imagine that makes insurance a little bit less.
Yeah. So condos, yeah, but then again, like I said, it's kind of weighted in terms of what the association is and what that includes.
True. Yeah.
Because,
whatever they're covering.
And then if you have a single family, you'll cover it yourself.
Yeah. So principal, I think we should elaborate. Your principal balance is essentially the money left that you owe that you paid for the house.
Mm-hmm.
When you break down your loan, you have principal and interest, really.
Yep.
The payment consists of other things, but your actual loan, you're paying principal and interest.
Your total monthly payment consists of principal, interest, taxes,
Right.
insurance, and like I said, if it's a condo or any sort of, association that they have there, it's going to be that extra.
So taxes, I find super interesting because they're so different everywhere you go.
So different.
Yeah.
It's so different. You go from, like us here in Hawaii, it's not as bad as Texas. I know Texas, some people have to pay like $1,500 their tax bill a month.
I know. I'm from Jersey. Taxes in Jersey are crazy high.
Yep.
And, you know, the houses aren't exactly cheap there either. So, like,
Yeah.
you know, yeah, when you have $1,500 a month added onto your monthly payment because of your taxes,
Mm-hmm.
you could probably buy a house in Hawaii. To be honest, it's a higher purchase price, but our taxes are so low here. And there's other states like that too.
Yeah.
So, you know, maybe if you're looking at an investment property, you look at, you know, the taxes in the area that you're looking. One thing here is, though, like for short-term rentals, and I'm not sure how it is in other states, but in short-term mixed-use zones, there's actually higher tax rate here.
Yes, there is.
So as an investor, that's definitely something to look out for. You want to account for that difference. You can look up the county tax laws, but, you know, when you're searching Google, you might not see that there's there's multiple different tax rates.
Yeah. And that's an important thing, too, that your lender needs to know that, too. That's why you ask, you know, is this going to be a primary or is this going to be, you know, an investment?
Right.
And it's a different loan product itself. You know, you're going to be, if for a better rate, you want to put down more money.
Right.
You know, and some programs, depending on how they are and different lenders, I would say bigger banks and things like that, they have different programs that would allow for less down. But for the most part, you probably need about 25% down for an investment loan, which is a good start because you want to have essentially that equity in there.
Yeah, you want to have that equity built in just in case, or if you want to use it, whatever. You know, you should.
Yeah. And then another thing too is for I would say an investment versus primary is that your interest rate tends to be a little bit higher because the risk is higher. Right. So it kind of goes hand in hand. Because if you're living in the property,
things are tight, right? And you've got an investment property in the primary residence. Which one are you going to pay for first?
Exactly.
Your primary residence.
Exactly.
You're not going to go without a house.
Exactly. And then everything's again, it's like a regular loan application in terms of we'd have to get all your statements and you know what you're going to use as a down payment, where the money comes from. So all that stuff is essentially all the same. But again, credit is another thing that we talked about in another episode.
Yeah.
How important it is too. You know.
Yeah. Of course, your credit's going to affect the interest rate. The interest rate's going to affect your overall monthly costs, and that's important. So if it's something you're even considering in your future, just if your credit's not already tight, you want to just start getting that together.
Yeah. It's, like I said, the whole process itself, I try to tell people at the beginning, like, it can be stressful if you allow it to be, but if you take the steps, like I said, when we do work together, it's just kind of that team aspect of let's all be on the same page. You're going to need some documents, like get all that stuff up front so that we can have everything. So while we're in contract, we're not worrying about the little things. We're worrying about something that you can, let's just say negotiating price, or, you do the home inspection and it's not great. So you can now negotiate getting things fixed or credit and things like that. So, but I think it's really important. So, I mean, talking to my aunt again, just telling her that, just make sure your realtor knows their stuff.
Yeah.
Because you don't want to be left there with the bag. You're going to be paying for it,
Yeah. I mean, when it comes to looking for a realtor, you want someone who's familiar with the area that you're looking to purchase in. Like, they got to know the market.
Exactly.
That's one major mistake you can go with, is just going with anyone. If you're working with a realtor who's not really used to, serving clients who are investors or not used to servicing that area, they may not be able to do you justice in the purchase that you're trying to make, and it's not intentional. People want to go out of their way to help people. I think, generally speaking, most people are pretty kind, and
I'd like to think that.
Especially in this community, I think that there are a lot of realtors that, want to go out of, they hear someone needs help, they want to help them, but you want to make sure that you're working with someone who's the right person for what you're trying to do.
Yeah, absolutely. It goes hand in hand with, when you work with anybody, you just got to make sure that they know their stuff.
Yeah.
If you're going to go to a doctor, you better hope that doctor knows his stuff.
Yeah, if you need, if you're trying to get work done on your heart, you're not going to go to,
the dentist.
Someone who, yeah, exactly, like, totally.
But that could be a thing too. Like some real estate agents do specialize in certain areas of the real estate market, like investing. Right? There's
right.
different. I think there's a different aspect and kind of goal when you're talking to a client when you're someone that's into investing or someone getting a primary residence for the first time, because they're two totally different
Two totally
experiences.
different people. Yes, yeah, it's two totally different people, and it's just another piece of the real estate bubble. It's like,
Yeah, that's the I would say puzzle,
yeah,
because everything's kind of intertwined, and then you have a little piece here, you have a little piece there. Like that person does multi units, that person does commercial real estate, and then along with that, you have investors who specialize in, lenders that specialize in investments or
Right.
commercial or residential or even there's other things.
I think from your side, there's probably quite a few options when people do want to finance on like how they could like actually go through with financing on investment property too.
Yeah, I mean, there's different loan products and whoever your lender is going to be, just
Same thing.
hopefully they know the
Yeah.
options, because if one doesn't work, that's why I say like not every piece is going to fit in that part of the puzzle. So you got to figure out where it's going to go.
Right. Right.
Because it doesn't make any sense if somebody's just going to tell you no. How about this is not going to work, but let's figure out something else.
Right.
Right?
And I'm sure, like, again, you guys want to find the best product for your client.
Exactly.
So you're going to figure out what their end goal is and what you have available, and hey, this is what I think matches
Yeah.
you.
You want to throw some cash into it, and go ahead. And if you want to do a HELOC simultaneously while you're buying an investment, you can do that too. There's a lot of options to get that money, especially if you already own property or try to look at other properties that you own using rental income, things like that. So
It's cool. It's definitely, if you're even thinking about getting into investing, all I gotta say is you should do it. If you're even a little bit interested, just go out, take the leap. It's scary. You're buying real property. Everyone, I think my experience, like every single person, whether they're like investor or not, usually has at least an ounce of nervousness in them about it. Like rarely do I ever meet anyone that's like, oh, this is just another deal. It's not usually like that. Like everyone is nervous. Even the guys at the top making the big deals, they're spending a lot. They're still nervous. They can try to act like they're not, but people are sweating.
A lot of money.
You just gotta bet on yourself, trust the process, and take that leap. Just do it. Do it. It's going to make your life better financially.
And we always talk about like building generational wealth. Like if you have kids or you're for your family, like get that second property that's going to help you do that. And the first step is getting into your first home.
Yep.
Right, and then you can just continually use that. I get people calling me. I did a loan for them 2 years ago, and they're like, "Oh yeah, well, we actually want to buy a second home." I'm like, "That's awesome.
Yeah.
Let's figure out how we're going to do that."
Yeah, now you realize, once you become a homeowner, you realize, like, oh my God, so many people are renting. Why? And then you're like, I could have a rental. There's so many people renting. I could have a rental.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And then there's always a demand for rent because some people can't afford it at the moment.
Right.
So
or
qualify at the moment. Like I said, I always tell people, like, not right now, but like I said, let's make a plan.
Yeah, there's like always a way. I've never met anybody where there wasn't some sort of path that they could take, even if they weren't ready right now, that you could give them, and they could follow that, and they'll be able to buy a house in however many weeks or months it's going to take them. It's pretty cool. It's definitely a cool thing.
Yeah. So shout out to my aunt.
Wait, what's her name? We gotta.
Oh, Tia Adriana. Tia's
So glad
Spanish
you called
for
Ari.
Spanish for aunt. Tia.
It's kind of like auntie. Right?
No, it's like the actual word.
I feel yeah, but I mean,
we got Alfredo behind the scenes. He speaks Spanish as well.
I guess so, but I just mean, like, I feel like when you say it though, it's just such a more, like, in Spanish, it's such a more of a term of endearment than like the actual word aunt.
It's true.
Like.
But shout out to Tia Elena, Tio Javier.
Yes.
They are looking to buy a second property,
Oh my God, good luck. I hope
Good
you
luck.
guys follow through and live out your dreams.
Absolutely.
For everyone else, thank you for joining us this week. Make sure you like and subscribe our videos.
Please.
Yes, please.
Real Grown Talk. We're basically everywhere, right?
Yeah, we're basically everywhere. YouTube, Apple Music, Amazon Music. Oh, sorry, Apple Podcasts, Amazon
Podcasts.
Music. I think we're on Google Podcasts. We're all over there. We're just
We're here.
throwing ourselves out there, hoping you guys like and subscribe.
All right. Well, this was a good one.
Yeah, I had a lot of fun.
Shout out to my aunt again.
Yeah.
My uncle.
Thanks, Arizan.
Yay.
Bye, guys.